It may be one of the more controversial sections of this video. I'm going to take a moment to talk about the myth of Milton Erickson. There is no doubt that Milton Erickson contributed greatly to the field of clinical hypnosis. There is no doubt that Milton Erickson's contributions perhaps kept the art of hypnosis for therapeutic purposes alive. There is no doubt that the many doctors, psychologists, professional hypnotists, who practice hypnosis and bring its power to people who are seeking change can be directly traced back and attributed to Milton Erickson. There is no doubt that Milton Erickson's work was incredibly powerful, that he was extremely skilled at what he did, and that NLP's contributions to our knowledge by essentially organizing and outlining and determining why Milton Erickson was so effective has impacted millions of people's lives in a positive way. However, there's a myth about Milton Erickson, and it's perpetuated in a number of different realms. I think psychologists perpetuate myths about Milton Erickson and lead people to believe the only way to do hypnosis is the way Milton Erickson would have done hypnosis. And it's almost as if psychologists have as their goal the desire to be the reincarnation of Milton Erickson rather than simply learning the techniques that he had. There is, on the other side of the spectrum, in the covert hypnosis underworld community on the internet, a myth about Milton Erickson, that somehow he was a master of covert hypnosis who was able to hypnotize random people anywhere without them knowing it. The reality is that Milton Erickson wasn't on the street hypnotizing people. He was actually disabled as a result of his polio, particularly later in life with limited mobility, and the people who he encountered actually knew they were going to be hypnotized, and the hypnosis was the goal because they went to Milton Erickson's house, Milton Erickson, the renowned hypnotist. There's another myth about Milton Erickson, and that is that he never used scripts. It was actually Milton Erickson who's credited with saying that a good hypnotherapist writes out scripts, writes out stories, writes these things down, and every year culls their list down to the 50 that are most effective for them. In the myth of Milton Erickson is perpetuated, there's a belief that indirect hypnosis was all he used, and that people didn't even know they were being hypnotized. The reality, if you watch any videos of Milton Erickson, was that he was quite directive and told people exactly what to do. He would say things like, it doesn't matter if you go into trance quickly or slowly, but that message implies only one thing, that the person is going to go into trance. Really, that's pretty directive rather than indirective. There's another myth about Milton Erickson and covert hypnosis, and that was that Milton Erickson was inductionless. There's no induction in Ericksonian hypnosis. Well, he used boredom as a primary technique for induction. There are a number of different ways to induce hypnosis: loss of equilibrium, shock, boredom, concentration. He certainly used boredom and kinesthetic aspects as ways of inducing hypnosis in people. Another myth about Milton Erickson is that our goal is to be like Milton Erickson. I think our goal is to be the best, my goal is to be the best me that I can be, and I want your goal to be, I want you to be the best you that you can be. And I want you to contribute with your own thought and your own ideas rather than trying to imitate somebody else. What NLP did was essentially study why Milton Erickson was effective, not how do you put a kid into trance without him knowing and steal his lunch money. And sometimes that's how Ericksonian hypnosis is marketed. What they discovered in studying why Milton Erickson was effective is that the language patterns that he used often directed people to reach goals that otherwise they never would have achieved.